Hello, folks. You are going to be talking to two people that have been all across the country. We've got our own Thomas Hawkins. He's our director of content and innovation. He's been around the country really working with school districts around AI. And then, folks, you've been tuning in to me on the podcast to talk about future focused strategies for all students. And today, what we really want to focus on is we want to focus on artificial intelligence. About a year and a half ago, I was in Monterey, California, and I asked a group of about 25 administrators, had they ever heard of the words ChatGPT? And out of 25 administrators, 4 people raised their hand. Other people looked around and were like, what is ChatGPT, right? Folks, now ChatGPT, if you go to a session, almost 95% or 100% of people have heard of ChatGPT. When it comes to artificial intelligence has moved faster than the speed of light across the country. But there's a lot of misconceptions of artificial intelligence we really want to talk about. And there's a lot of ways that artificial intelligence can truly help educators, whether you are teachers, TAs, whether you are superintendents, whether you're principals, no matter who you are, from K-12 and even higher education. And what we're going to be talking about today is giving you some strategies today, but you've got to come to our conference. We're going to be at the Future Focus Summit in October. You're going to just get a morsel of strategies today. But coming to the conference, you're going to get a lot of specific strategies that then you can take, build your plan, and then begin to really focus on a plan for success in your districts. But that was the plug, all right? Let's jump into the business of things, right? I've got Thomas Hawkins. He is our Director of Content and Innovation at SPN NDPC. Thomas, folks, he's been jet set. All right? He's smiling, he's laughing. He's been jet set, folks. He's been across the country. I'll send Thomas an email and say, Thomas, where are you? Oh, man, I'm in North Carolina. I'll say, but I'm on my way to California. I'm on my way to New York, right? He's really been all across the nation working with teachers around artificial intelligence, its implications, its impact, its strategies for success, and truly building plans for districts. The first question, however, and I hear this all the time. As a matter of fact, I was on a Zoom with some administrators in Arizona, and we were talking about the misconceptions of AI. Thomas, as you've been around the country, right? What are some misconceptions of artificial intelligence with educators, man?
I'll be honest. The first one, when I opened up my session yesterday with a group of educators up in North Carolina, I said, "Oh, any questions before we get started? Any topics anybody's really wants me to get into?" And I had younger. It was an instructional facilitator in the room asked me, "Is this going to take my job?" She said, "I've started using ChatGPT. I've started using Gamma. I've started using everything else." She's like, "I'm integrating it into everything that I'm doing. But is this going to take my job? Are there going to be jobs for our students that we're teaching? And are we preparing them for the things out there?" She said, "But at the end of the day, I'm worried about myself and my other educators alongside me right now."
Right. So, matter of fact, man, I'm glad that you brought that up, brother, because, and I don't know if we're on the same wavelength, man. I was on line today, and CBS, I think it's NVIDIA, their CEO, he said the words, AI will not take your jobs. A person who knows how to use AI will take your job, right? Because he was just talking about, Thomas, how AI is being integrated in everything. Like there will not be anything that we'll do in the next, in the future that will not have some type of AI in it. And the individuals that are able to use AI effectively, those individuals are going to, just that skill set alone is going to have those individuals, they're going to be at a higher level of knowledge than other individuals, man. But what are some other misconceptions you think, man?
Other big ones are there's no way to use it safely inside of the school setting. That's one. I see a lot of people get tripped up on, and that's one of the things I've been traveling around and helping districts out with, is outlining that policy, procedure, and professional development that it takes to start integrating it, first for teachers and then for some of my districts that we've been working with for a little bit over a year with the Successful Practices Network. We're getting to the point that they're introducing it to classrooms. They're bringing students into the fold. But again, policy, procedure, and then professional development. Everybody needs to be on the same page. We need to know what we're doing with private information, and with student information, FERPA, HIPAA, all the other pieces, and balancing all that. But there is a misconception that traditional education will never be able to integrate this, but it's just wrong.
It's wrong, brother. As a matter of fact, man, I mean, and this is for all you leaders out there, is AI even a part of your strategic plan, right? And if it's not, it needs to be, right? Because what we're seeing is like your children right now, if they're in high school, my baby's in middle school, man, and she's on ChatGPT all the time, right? If your children are using AI, okay? As a matter of fact, there was an article talking about college students are using AI rampantly as far as ELA and other assignments, right? So the question is if you don't have a plan around it, you don't have policies around it, you don't have anything in your strategic planning around it, then what transpires is that you're not really able to build a future focused culture around AI. We've got some districts that we work with. I mean, I know Dan Bridges out in Naperville, man, he's doing some amazing work. We can connect you because you've got to make sure that AI is from boardroom to classroom. It just can't be in your classroom or in a real cool campus, a PBL campus you guys got. Yeah. It's got to be in like board policy, all the way down to the classroom, all the way out to your community if you want to build a future-focused culture, man. And now let's segue, man, because I know we don't have a lot of time. We want folks to be at the conference really to get some depth knowledge of of the strategies. But let's give our family, man, some strategies that you've seen on the road when it comes to high engagement strategies around AI for teachers and leaders that you've seen to be effective in a lot of your sessions across the country, man.
The biggest one, especially when I'm running workshops, is just upgrading and almost like it's a force multiplier for our existing lessons and activity. Bringing them up in our instructional design framework up to that quad D. We want high rigor, relevance, and we want all of our lessons to build resilience. We're really big on that and able to push some of that out and get know, imply, engage, and all these other pieces that we want, project-based lessons, and really transform existing work in the classroom. But going beyond that, we're looking at transforming some of our existing practices and other things as we win back time. What do teachers do with that time? My lesson I did last week with a district, we had everybody in the room use AI to find different locations in their community, corporations, industries, and reach out and ask them, hey, can you come to our school and help out with this? Would you stop by this school event night and get connected? We're using it to bring the community into schools and things that would have taken teachers an inordinate amount of time, and we're able to do it like that. In a workshop for fun, all of a sudden we're able to reach out to 150 businesses locally and ask, hey, is there anything you guys need from us? And is there anything you can do for us? We're able to start conversations that before just took so much effort and resource. And as educators, everybody's cup's full and overflowing. And this is our way to bring it back down so we have the capacity to do these new, innovative, and explorative things and start to transform education.
Right, man. Thomas, it makes me think, man. And I was a teacher probably before you were born, a long time ago, right? But teachers, think about how long it takes to build if you're just doing it by yourself, how long it takes to build a quality, what we call a quad D lesson, like where you're able to, put in the questions, make sure that you're connecting it to real life. You're able to, go through the process of building children up to this highest level lesson where you have some of the most critical thinking questions. How long that used to take us, folks. We've got rubrics. We can do it in what? How many minutes, man?
So I have a great example for that. In a professional development last week, I had a teacher who was going to be out the next day for another PD. And she said, I left behind terrible sub plans. And
Mhm.
so
Right.
we
I
timed
didn't
her
think about that.
to upgrade her subplans and subplan PowerPoint. It took her about a minute 30 seconds. Granted, she already had high quality content that she intended to present, but
Right.
wasn't going to be able to because there was a sub. It took her about a minute and 30 seconds between Google's Gemini and
Mhm.
Gamma to completely rebuild it out so that the sub would be able to produce the same lesson she wanted to give.
Hey,
So minute,
I mean,
I'll say a minute
uh,
30 for a high quality quad D lesson, but that doesn't diminish what the educator's done. We said we aren't here to
exactly.
replace educators. It takes 80-20. AI gets you about 80% of the way there, but that last
Sure.
20%
Oh
takes
yeah,
that
you got to
critical
do it yourself.
mastery. It takes
Definitely.
that ability to scaffold. It takes the basis. It takes everything. But educators know where that last 20% is, and being able to speed up that first 80%, holy
Right.
smokes.
Hey, Thomas, it's funny, man. I think that you just connected with probably 95% of the teachers in the United States when you said it'll take 90 seconds to get your sub plans right, right?
It,
I mean, think about it. Think about it. So, I mean,
it was an
think about it
awesome
as a teacher,
example.
how long it takes you to get all the sub plans and everything that you've got to have together, right? I mean, one thing that AI and Thomas does an amazing job. AI is this amazing way to get your nights and weekends back. You think about how long it takes to grade papers. You think about how long it takes to plan high level lessons. You think about how long it takes you to bring sub plans together. And think about having AI and having a number of platforms that can get you to get a lot of these things out in minutes as opposed to hours, as opposed to days. And as we think about these strategies, folks, you have got to bring just not yourself, not just your superintendent, just not your principal, but your AI committee, because you got to bring a committee of individuals to think about, like, what does AI look like in your district? What does it look like at your school? What does it look like as far as board policy? What does it look like in the classroom? And folks, the one thing we forget is, what does AI look like in our community, right? With our parents, with our businesses, what it looks like. Thomas, as well as Successful Practice Network, we're going to be having a variety of sessions from what we consider boardroom to classroom around AI strategies for you and for your district in October at the Future Focus Success Summit. Okay, so you've got to be there because you're not only going to meet us, but you're going to be meeting a network of individuals that are working on the work, okay, of AI, and they can give you some potholes, right? Don't do
Yeah.
this, right? Hey, it took us a month to get out of this pothole. This is the best path to actually, and these are the best strategies. I think that's extremely important as well. So, Thomas, anything you want to add? I know I've been doing a bunch of preaching around AI, brother. Anything you want to add, and go ahead and end our session today,
Uh,
man. Anything?
Last thing I'd say is if you are able to bring your team to the conference, reach out to me or just let someone at SPN know beforehand, and I'll make sure I sit down and take time with you. If you have AI policy already written out or you're looking at adopting something, I'd love to sit and walk your team through some of the things we've seen going on around the nation on that. But please bring a team, and I'd love to sit and start those conversations there at the conference with you.
Definitely. And lastly, I'm going to go all the way back to where I started. I think a lot of people think that AI is going to take my job.
Mm-hmm.
And just like the CEO from NVIDIA said today, AI won't take your job, but someone who knows AI can possibly take your job. We've got to make sure that we truly are able to use AI as a tool to truly help impact the lives of children. And not just children, but all children. So, folks, we're looking forward to seeing you in October. And Thomas, man, thanks a bunch. I know you've been
Thank you, Dr.
jet setting,
Peters.
brother. Thanks
Yeah.
for stopping by and talking to me this morning, all right?
Yes, sir. Anytime.
All right, man.